They are Persians and
what
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country.
As the hot war rages on between Israel and Iran, and tensions between Iran and the United States are escalating because Trump continues to publicly flirt with the notion of a direct U.S. military strike on Iran, here at home, the MAGA civil war continues to escalate because of this particular issue. And a clip went viral yesterday on social media. It was a preview of an upcoming interview involving two of the worst people you could possibly imagine. MAGA influencer and ex-Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who has been critical of the Trump administration's foreign policy with respect to Iran, and MAGA Republican Senator Ted Cruz. And spoiler alert, Cruz got the raw end of the deal on this. He was humiliated. He walked into multiple traps. Tucker dog-walked him in a pretty embarrassing way. And it makes for good popcorn entertainment. But I want to unpack this clip and another clip that was just released as a preview for this interview and what this might portend for the future of this rapidly disintegrating MAGA coalition. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, you may or may not have seen this particular clip already, but we're going to jump in. This is the one that went viral, and it's not good for Ted Cruz.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
how could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a preview of an interview that's coming out either today or tomorrow. That will definitely be interesting. So listen, these two again. This is a Dracula versus Wolfman, a mummy versus Frankenstein's monster, Godzilla versus Mothra situation. Okay, none of these people are worth rooting for, but you have to call a spade, and Ted Cruz was humiliated in that viral exchange. Now, perhaps the full interview will flip the tables, and maybe Ted Cruz will get the better of Carlson. Ted Cruz is a smart guy. Believe it or not, he's a really smart guy. He was the Solicitor General for Texas for years before he became a U.S. Senator. He's litigated multiple times in front of the Supreme Court of the United States. He's Harvard educated. I mean, he's a sharp guy. He's also incredibly unlikable. Lindsey Graham, Republican senator from South Carolina, famously said with regards to Ted Cruz, he's like, Ted Cruz is so unlikable. Lindsey Graham said publicly, he goes, if you murdered Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was held in the Senate, nobody would convict you. Like, it's just, he is mimetically disliked, okay, according to that is a bipartisan consensus, all right? And so to see him get humiliated in this way, given how many principles he's abandoned along the way for the sake of political fealty to Trump, it's awesome. Now, I will say, those were trivia gotcha questions. Like, here's how I look at it. This idea that you have to be able to answer every single piece of trivia about a country, that's absurd. But it doesn't look good for Cruz because it is a perfectly valid question, right? Okay, knowing the population, the demography and all the demographic makeups and the ethnicity, the religious component, the political situation in Iran, knowing that pretty intimately is probably worthwhile, especially coming from a United States senator who wields power and is an influence on the Trump administration when you're publicly advocating for regime change? Like, I understand the point. Like, these are gotcha questions, right? And you know, I understand that, but it's like they are fairly substantive, and I would say that they are relevant. Okay, so regardless, though, the optics are terrible for Ted Cruz, and we'll get into some of the funny reactions there. But believe it or not, that wasn't the only clip that was released as a preview of their upcoming interview. As Mediaite reports, Tucker Carlson grills Ted Cruz after Senator admits Israel probably spies on us. That's okay with you? Tucker Carlson grilled Ted Cruz this week after Cruz admitted in an interview that Israel, quote, probably spies on the United States. So we're going to play this clip here. This is about 2 minutes long, and then we'll get the reaction on the other side.
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence.
Does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us. And I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that. And by the way, I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know, hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming. I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest...
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay, and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
So I agree in the sense that, let me say this. I think that Ted Cruz is correct in the sense that all of our allies spy on the United States. The United States certainly spies on all of its allies. That is simply a realpolitik fact of the matter, right? That's a fact of the world. We all do it. We all surveil our allies. Our allies with the capability surveil us to the best of their ability. So again, this is kind of a gotcha from Tucker Carlson. I would say it's less effective than the first clip. But Ted Cruz is struggling in this particular situation, in this particular interview with the clips released, to deal with Tucker Carlson's gotcha questions. And Tucker Carlson is a bad faith actor, right? So even though Cruz is being humiliated here, I'm not sure what he was expecting. Maybe it was because he thought that because Tucker Carlson is MAGA, that there would be no friendly fire, right? They're both MAGA. But I think just going into it, you should probably know that, really both people in this particular equation are disingenuous, unprincipled hypocrites who go for bad faith attacks. And it's just that Carlson has the upper hand here. He's better at it, at least in this exchange. And so this is why I say this is a very much a Dracula versus Wolfman situation, because on the one hand, you have Ted Cruz, who again has sacrificed every major conservative principle that he has ever claimed to have along the way for political expediency, right? This man was a vociferous critic and opponent of Donald Trump in the 2015-2016 Republican primary. Donald Trump repeatedly personally insulted members of Ted Cruz's family, suggested that his father assassinated President John F. Kennedy, publicly insulted Ted Cruz's wife's appearance. And in the end, Ted Cruz phone banked for him. And in the end, Ted Cruz bent the knee, to say nothing of other conservative principles that he's abandoned along the way, like fiscal conservatism, right? And he's just become like a really egregiously unlikable culture war warrior on behalf of Trump. Tucker Carlson, has a history of conspiracism. He's a right-wing conspiracy theorist who promotes the Great Replacement theory. He's an anti-Semite. Just an incredibly unlikable person. So again, watching these two clash is a lot of fun. But there can be no doubt about it that at least in the clips demonstrated, the clips shown, Ted Cruz got the raw end of the deal. Ted Cruz lost these exchanges. So let's take a look at some of the reactions online because they're pretty funny. Ted Cruz has done some pretty despicable things, but making Tucker Carlson look like the voice of reason has to be the worst. Heartbreaking. The worst person you know just made a great point. Midas touch. Wow. Sawyer Hackett, when an unstoppable asshole meets an immovable asshole. Ted Cruz looks very bad here. Wow. Better than any interview I saw on his Fox show. Tucker has finally done the worst thing I can imagine. Make me agree with him. What in the holy fuck is going on right now? Again, the worst person meme. The right-wing infighting has gotten even better, ladies. I agree. Holy shit, this clip. Brett Meiselas of Midas Touch. Ahmed Baba, I've always wanted Republicans to be asked basic questions that would reveal the ignorance underneath their bluster. Weird a moment like this is coming from Tucker Carlson of all people, but I'll take it. And again, listen, I take the point that, it's hard to memorize, factoids, relevant factoids about every major country, but also I think it's a fair thing to point out, if you're strenuously advocating for regime change in this foreign country, you should be able to answer basic questions about its demography and about, its religious and political composition. So, gotcha, but I think Tucker walked into it. What timeline are we in that I'm watching a Tucker Carlson video and agreeing with him and kicking my fit like get her, Jade? If you're in a position where you're to the right of Tucker Carlson, that's a bit extreme. I don't advocate for that. Let's see. How the fuck is Carlson the reasonable one now? Oopsie, hate to say it, but Tucker cooked his ass here. Tucker Carlson attacking Ted Cruz is like watching chlamydia mug gonorrhea. That's funny. So there we have it, folks. Again, the MAGA civil war is escalating. These two are incredibly unlikable for mostly similar reasons, some very different. But again, to be clear, in these exchanges that have gone viral so far, Ted Cruz has been humiliated in the worst possible way. We'll see what happens when the full-blown interview is released. But in the meantime, let us hope and pray that the MAGA civil war continues to escalate. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.